Hello, I'm Oliver Colling, and this is the My 70s TV Childhood Quiz. Welcome back to the ultimate and possibly the only quiz inspired by the award-shortlisted podcast, My 70s TV Childhood. Every fortnight, we serve up 20 fresh trivia questions straight from the golden era of 1970s television. Whether you're a telly addict or just love a nostalgic throwback, this quiz is your time machine to a time of flares, funky theme tunes, and fabulous family shows. This week, I'm pleased to announce that there are no apologies needed. As regular listeners know, I do sometimes make mistakes. But I have to say the crack team at the My 70s TV Childhood Fact Verification Unit has meticulously double-checked every question and answer, so you can trust we're upholding the very highest standards of telly trivia integrity. So rest easy. No dodgy answers this time. Well, I've got my fingers crossed. Are you new here? Then I have just one question. What took you so long? And if you're a returning quizzer, welcome back. You know the drill. I've had great feedback from last time, sent to quiz@my70stvchildhood.com. Apparently some found it too easy, while others thought it was brain-meltingly hard, which I suppose means we're hitting that sweet spot of just right. So enough chatter. It's time to get quizzing. We've got 4 rounds, 20 questions, and hopefully a whole lot of fun ahead. No prizes, just for fun. There are bragging rights, and from what I've seen, many of you take those very seriously, which I think is great. So grab a pen, pour yourself something nice. I'm on Coke Zero this week, for some reason, just don't ask. And let's play. Round 1 is a round called Animal Crackers, and it's all about animals who featured on 1970s TV. Question 1. Johnny Morris often appeared on Animal Magic with a ring-tailed lemur called what? So what was Johnny Morris's ring-tailed lemur called? Question 2. We'll stick with Johnny Morris. What was the name of the show he narrated, which featured live animals, including Hammy the hamster, Roderick the rat, and GP the guinea pig? Question 3. What was the name of the longest-lived Blue Peter pet who died on 14th of September 1977? And question 4. Following the split from his brother Mike, Bernie Winters made his first appearance with a large St. Bernard dog in October 1978. What was the name of his dog? And question 5. In the sitcom Rising Damp, what was the name of landlord Rigsby's cat? That was quite a gentle opener for you, I think. So let's see how you fare with round 2. And this is our marathon or Fil Rouge round, which features subjects we've covered in the 5 years we've been producing this podcast. Okay, question 1. In January 2024, we celebrated the new year by looking at a thoroughly miserable TV show, which featured Britain after the outbreak of a global pandemic and killed off most of the population. What was this show called? Question 2. In our 3rd episode, way back in September 2020, we remembered Watch with Mother. Which classic show, which featured in that slot between the 1950s and the 1980s, did I absolutely hate? Question 3. In August 2024, we featured Basil Brush, and in April this year, we featured the pop show Get It Together. What was the connection between the 2 shows? So what connected Basil Brush and Get It Together? Question 4. Our September 2021 episode looked back at Going for a Song featuring Arthur Negus. Unfortunately, it didn't feature Arthur going for a song and singing, but what did it feature? So what was the subject of Going for a Song? And question 5. In July 2023, we look back at How. One of the regular panel was probably the last regular pipe smoker on children's TV, Jack Hargreaves. What was the name of Jack's other show, which featured Jack in a shed looking at the ways and traditions of the countryside? So there we are, halfway through already, and on to our next round without further ado. And this is our Spin the Wheel and Name That Tune round, where I'll spin our specially constructed Wheel of Fate to choose a year from the 1970s. I'll then feed that year into our state-of-the-art AI-powered theme tune generator to generate 5 theme tunes from TV shows first shown on UK TV that year. So, all very straightforward, or not, but you get the idea. So let's spin the wheel. This is so exciting. And it's landed on 1972. Okay, let me input that into our AI-powered theme tune generator and see what we get. Okay, off we go with theme tune 1. That shouldn't be a huge test, but the next one may well be. And so let's reveal theme tune 3. And now theme tune 4. Another tricky one there, I suspect, so let's finish with an easy one. Love that. Now, I know we've had that on the quiz before, but so what? It's a great piece of music, and I don't have control over the random theme tune generator. Okay, so on to our last round already. And this is our TV Times round, where I can ask you anything 70s TV trivia related at all. Question 1. How did Coronation Street's Ernie Bishop die in 1978? And I still think he's probably the most irritating and boring character ever in a soap opera, but never mind. Sorry, Ernie. Question 2, still on soaps. Which popular character did Paul Henry play in Crossroads? Question 3. The Glittering Prizes, starring Tom Conti, Barbara Kellerman and others, was a 1976 series following the lives of graduates of which university? Question 4. What did Leslie Judd do immediately before she joined Blue Peter, which was featured in the programme just before she joined? And question 5. In what year did Stars on Sunday, the ITV Sunday religious show, broadcast its final episode? So there we are, another quiz, our 46th edition no less, done and dusted. So before we reveal the answers, let's take a look at last week's bonus question. I asked you this. What was the introductory sequence for London weekend television meant to signify? Well, it was apparently meant to symbolise the flowing of the River Thames through London. Well, if you got that right, you must be a pretty creative person, so well done. This week's bonus question is about the US TV show HR Pufnstuf, which was very odd in my opinion. I think parts of it may well have been inspired by illicit substances, but it is a show that many of our listeners remember fondly. Which type of creature was HR Pufnstuf? And for a bonus point on our bonus question, don't think we've had that before, what official title did he have? So what creature was HR Pufnstuf? And what official title did he have? And if you know the answer, you can let me know by dropping a line to quiz@my70stvchildhood.com. Okay, let's move on to our answers. Round 1, our Animal Crackers round. Johnny Morris appeared on Animal Magic with a ring-tailed lemur called Dottie. And what was the name of the show where Johnny Morris narrated, featuring live animals including Hammy the Hamster, Roderick the Rat and GP the Guinea Pig? That was Tales of the Riverbank. And I know before anyone says that was actually made in the 1960s, but it was shown pretty regularly in the 70s too. Question 3. What was the name of the longest-lived Blue Peter pet who died on the 14th September 1977? And that was Petra. Moving on to question 4, more dogs here. Following the split from his brother Mike, Bernie Winters made his first appearance with a large St. Bernard dog in October 1978. What was the name of the dog? And the dog was called Schnorbitz. Question 5. In the sitcom Rising Damp, what was the name of Rigsby's cat? And Rigsby's cat was called Vienna, so when he put the cat out at night, he could say, "Good night, Vienna." All right, on to round 2, our Marathon Fil Rouge round. Question 1. In January 2024, we celebrated the new year by looking at the thoroughly miserable TV show featuring Britain after the outbreak of a global pandemic. Who'd have thought that could happen? What was the show called? And that was Survivors. Question 2. Way back when we featured Watch with Mother, which classic show did I absolutely hate? It was Andy Pandy. Could never stand it. Always found it rather sinister in a way. Anyway, that's just me. Question 3. What's the connection between Basil Brush and the pop show Get It Together? Well, both featured Roy North, or Mr. Roy, as we all knew him better. At question 4. In September 2021, we looked back at Going for a Song. And what was the basis of Going for a Song? What did it feature? Well, it was a quiz about antique valuations. And question 5. In July 2023, we looked back at Hal and Jack Hargreaves, the fantastic pipe smoker. What was the name of Jack's other show featuring Jack in a shed, looking at the ways and traditions of the countryside? That was called Out of Town. All right, moving on to our Name That Tune round, featuring shows that debuted in 1972. First one, that was The Protectors, which I'm sure most of you were able to get. The second one was very tough, so I'll be impressed if many people have got this one. This was the theme tune to the BBC Two serial Clochemel, adapting the French novel. So if you got Clochemel, well done. Theme tune 3. Again, I think most of you will be all right with this. It's John Craven's Newsround. Theme tune 4. Now, this was the opening sequence to a series of one-off dramas called The Frighteners, which, as you can tell by the title, were pretty scary. And theme tune 5, again, I'd hope most of you recognise this one. That's The Adventures of Black Beauty. All right, our TV Times round. Question 1. How did Coronation Street's Ernie Bishop die in 1978? Well, he was very unfortunately shot dead during a wages robbery at Mike Baldwin's clothing factory. Question 2. What popular character did Paul Henry play in Crossroads? Well, he played Benny Hawkins. If you just put Benny, you can have that. Question 3. The Glittering Prizes, starring Tom Conti, Barbara Kellerman, and a whole host of others, featured the lives of graduates of which university? And that was Cambridge University. Question 4. What did Leslie Judd do immediately before she joined Blue Peter? Well, she was a member of the Young Generation dance group. And in what year did Stars on Sunday, the ITV Sunday religious show, broadcast its final episode? And that was 1979. So, how did you do this time? Are you over the moon, or are you sick as a parrot? Whichever, thank you for playing, and I really hope you've enjoyed our quiz. We'll be back next week with another edition of our regular podcast, and again in a fortnight with our next quiz. In the meantime, take care, look after those you love, and join us again soon for more from My 70s TV Childhood and the My 70s TV Childhood quiz.